Please give us your full name.
I'm Joshua Botchwey.
Joshua.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Great. I think I've known you for how many years now?
7.
7 years.
Yeah.
But there's an opportunity to see what's behind the facade of a quiet young man. So let's try and go all the way to the beginning. Where were you born?
In Accra, Kolebu to be precise.
Kolebu.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a bit about your family. Are you a firstborn?
No, I'm actually the last born.
The last born. Last born, how many?
Between my mom and dad, we are just 2. So that's my sister and myself.
Okay. But then the wider family?
The wider family, five, about 12.
12.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty sizable family. What would you say is the age gap between you and the firstborn?
I actually don't know the age of the firstborn because I didn't grow up with her.
Okay.
So I really don't know.
Okay, great. How were your parents when they had you?
I actually don't know.
You don't know, but you can estimate.
If I'm to estimate,
Yes.
late 60s or maybe early 70s. That's for my dad.
For your dad, And then for your mom.
Maybe 40, 30s.
Okay.
There.
Do you know the story of how your parents met?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, is this something you can share with us?
Oh, yes. I can.
Wonderful. Tell us a bit because we need to understand how you came to be.
So, my dad was actually not well and was like taken, was taken to a herbalist around Akweteman.
Okay.
So he was receiving medication from that place. And then my mom, whose sister, was also at the herbalist place. She went for a visit.
Okay.
So through that, my dad saw her and then they started talking. They became friends. And then my dad told her that she's interested in her. So he went ahead to see her family, and then the rest is history.
Okay, that's very interesting history. So your dad wasn't well, but he went there and he got well enough to see that he liked a lot of things at the herbalist place. That's really cool.
So to say.
Great. So where were you raised?
In Accra, but between La Paz and Tabora.
Okay. So do you know what's the name of the first school that you remember attending?
First school? I've forgotten the name, but it was a daycare in our neighborhood.
Okay.
I actually started school very late.
Okay.
So it was a daycare but when I was moved, I moved to Happy Home.
Happy Home. Where's Happy Home?
La Paz.
La Paz. Is it still in existence?
Yeah, it's still in existence.
Okay. So what year was this? You can't remember. Okay. So you had Happy Home. You had teachers.
Yeah.
Did you have any teacher that you were particularly fond of?
There was one called Mr. Fati. That was
Fati.
Yeah, was it class 2 or class 3 teacher?
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Fati.
Yeah.
That man had Santo. That man there.
So what was it about Mr. Fati that you remember?
Oh, his early morning mental.
Okay.
Early morning mental. Okay. And he will always get you.
He always get you.
He will always get you.
Okay.
He always has about 70 to 80% of the class anytime he does that.
Okay. So what do you think his motivation was? Do you think he wanted you to be better students, or did he just like clashing you?
Yeah. He wanted us to be better students.
Okay. So how was your math?
Not so good. Not so good. Not so bad.
Okay. So you were almost always, Mr. Fati will get you.
let's say 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Okay. Do you remember any students who were like particularly good who never got lashed by Mr. Fati?
It's called a J.
A J.
Yeah, a J. The first name I've forgotten, but it's called a J. Yeah,
Okay.
it's called a J.
So you were in the same class with the J for how long?
Oh, so the time I left Happy Home,
Okay. Which was for BC or you left?
I left Happy Home in class 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your memories of Happy Home, how happy were they?
My Happy Home was fun. It was actually fun. The school was like a house.
Okay.
So at the back of the school is where the preparatories live. So they have some sort of garden over there. You can just go out there and like we used to go there and pluck bananas
Okay.
and then eat and all that. So
Okay.
it was actually fun.
Okay.
School living in Happy Home.
Did you have any friends in Happy Home that you remember?
I do, but their names is what I've forgotten. I
Okay.
remember one, Romeo. I don't think he's even in the country anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you remember about him?
Oh, we go to his house. Like we used to go to his house. His house was closer to La Paz Polyclinic, Motorway Polyclinic. Right now, I don't think the polyclinic is even there. So
Okay.
we close from school, we go there, we hang out, and then we come back.
Okay. So tell me about leaving Happy Home in class 5. Did your parents have a conversation with you about leaving? Did you know it was coming up? What were your thoughts?
So I think I was in the same school with my sister. That's the one I follow.
Yeah.
And then things got tough. So she had to move. And she moved way earlier than I did. So getting closer to, I think, class 4, I didn't actually know that I was going to move. So the term began and I wasn't allowed to go to school and all that. That's where I saw the signs that maybe I'm going to be moved. So eventually they went to the school, spoke to the proprietress, spoke to the teacher, and then they moved me.
So when you say things got tough, what was going on?
Things got tough with my parents, like financially. So
Okay.
they had to move me to where they can afford at that time. So
Okay. So were you aware of that as a child, that things were tough, or were you kind of oblivious to it?
Sometimes I'm aware, sometimes the way they present it makes you comfortable. You don't really feel it that things are tough, but as a child, you just know that mom and dad is there to provide for you. They don't make you feel that there's something going on and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so can you give an idea of how they presented it?
Oh, so to me, even moving from the school, I thought I was going to join my sister and then my nephew. So it was more like, okay, the family is like deciding to move everyone here so they can, not knowing it was something that is more financial than. It was later I got to know that that's the reason. So.
Okay, so then you moved from there to what school?
Oxford.
Oxford, which is also in
That school was in Nyamiche.
Yamiche.
Yeah.
So do you remember your first day at Oxford?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
But so what were your earliest impressions of Oxford? Because there was a
Oh.
change. When you got there, what did you see?
It felt like a downgrade.
A downgrade?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a child, you go there and...
It felt like a downgrade because Happy Home is Happy Home, even to today. Moving from Happy Home to Oxford, I got there, I'm like, wow. Anyway, but it was fun being in Oxford though.
Okay. But I'm curious, so as you got there as a child, did you think, okay, I miss Happy Home?
Yeah.
Did you interact with your friends there? Did you try and have a conversation with your parents?
No, I didn't try to have a conversation. So like I said, I thought the whole motive behind moving me was for me to go and join my sister and then nephew in Oxford. So to me, I was happy. I was happy, not knowing like it was something.
So your sister was at Oxford
Yeah,
already, and
Yeah.
your nephew was also there.
yeah,
So then at least you were with them.
yes, I was.
Okay. But then in class, how were the teachers?
Well, they were good. Actually, they were good. They were good. Moving from Happy Home to Oxford actually made me improve a lot.
Okay.
Because in Happy Home, I wasn't so serious with studying. But the friends I got to know in Oxford actually they pushed me a lot and I gave attention to studies.
So how did you make friends in Oxford?
There was it's funny. So the people I actually became friends with at first, I wouldn't want to use the word like rascals, but
Okay.
I got into bad company when I first went to Oxford. So it was later on that like I had to move away from them because the path they were leading me on wasn't really a good one. So
Okay, so let's slow it down. You got into bad company. How did that even happen? Because I want to understand. You get to a new school. Were you? Did you have a gregarious personality to make friends, or did you sit back and people approached you?
I can't really remember, but it felt like it's like you go to a school and you are very shy and you're very reserved, but you find someone who everybody knows. So you try to get close to the person so that he or she will be like some sort of safety that, yeah, that's how it happened.
So you identified the popular but bad boys,
Yeah.
and then you got close to them. But how did that start? Did you? Was it through one of them that you met the rest?
Yeah, it was still one of them.
Okay. You don't want to mention the person's name.
I remember, is it Prince Opoku?
Okay.
I think it's Prince Opoku, yeah.
Okay.
Prince Opoku.
So what made those people bad company?
So bad relatively.
Yes.
The reason I'm saying bad is the path I was on wasn't what I was on initially. So like it looks very strange to me. That's what I'm saying bad company.
Okay.
Maybe to them that's
So what were they doing without passing judgment? So what kind of things were they doing?
oh, they skipping class
Okay.
at that time.
So this was like what, class 6?
Class 4, class 5, class 6.
Okay, so then I want to understand. You go to school. How are you getting to school?
I walk. So
You walk, okay.
the path to Oxford, I don't know. So right through my house, go straight down, take your left. So the school was at Mambo Junction.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a route from my house to the place, so I just walk.
So you walk there, you get to school, you meet Prince, and then he says, "Let's skip class." Do you skip at the first?
It's like, so you go to school, break time, then you go for break. The whole intention is to like go to Fadama. There was some man over there who gives out bicycles
Okay.
and motorbikes. So they will rent bicycles and they will rent motorbikes at them, and then I will just go for bicycle. We will ride through Fadama. We go to Dakuma, Marcus, the park over there.
But you're talking about class 4, class 5.
Yeah.
How old were they? Were they 18-year-olds?
No, so they were way older than me.
Okay.
They were way older than I am.
And they would get
Yeah.
motorbikes, and then you get bicycle, and then you just
Did you have a name for it? Shaminogbo or something? Yeah.
Saminobu.
Yeah.
So you just follow them, and then you're doing that. How long did you do that for before you realized you
Oh,
had to?
I think I did that till I got to class. I think right after class 4, I just left the association.
Did somebody have to draw your attention to it? Was it your mother or your sister?
An incident happened,
Okay.
and I think that was like a wake-up call.
Okay.
So they sell biscuits. It's not like they sell biscuits. They'll buy biscuits, and then when they are eating and you ask them for some, they will tell you, they will sell it to you.
So this okay.
So I think I did that with them for a while, and the money accumulated. So I couldn't pay.
So you owed them money?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're getting biscuits on credit?
Yeah, biscuits that they were eating. Like,
Yes.
just give me some to eat. Then they'll be like, I'm selling it to you. That
you
kind
say,
of
okay,
thing.
fine.
So, okay, fine.
But this is supposed to be your friends.
Yes.
And they were selling to you, and you were accumulating your debt.
Yes.
Okay.
So that happened, and like it got to a time they were demanding for their money. So there was my former pastor. His wife had a shop close to the school. So I don't know, but I told a lie. I told a lie, and they went to her, and I've forgotten what she said exactly, but I think they left me for a while, and then one day I came to school, and then they were demanding for it again, so I had to come back home. I came back home, and then my parents asked me, why am I home? And I told them, I'm not feeling well. So I was there, and then I saw that the guys have come to my house. How they got to know my house, I don't know. So when I saw that they were in, I just went to the restroom. I was there. And they told my parents whatever is going on, and they came to call me. So I came out very disappointed. I sat down in front of them, and they said whatever they had to say. And did they even? Yeah, I think they paid the money. Yeah, they paid the money and advised me to disassociate myself from such people and all that. So, yeah, that was a wake-up call.
Okay. So I'm going to assume your parents never spanked you or beat you.
Oh, so my dad is like me, or I am like my dad. He takes time to take action. He will observe you for a while, and the action he will take is like it's for the next 3 months. So when he's giving it to you now, you know that you are going to feel it for the next 3 months. That's how my dad is. But my mom is instant. You do it, you get it. But in my family, the one who has like spanked me more is my sister.
What's the age gap between the two of you?
Oh, not the one I follow directly.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
she's called Emilia. Emilia.
So we will come to that. I want us to stay on the topic. So you went back to school.
Yeah.
After that, immediately after that incident, and started disassociating yourself.
So yeah, I think I didn't go back to school the same day.
Okay.
I went back to school the next day. Yeah. So I went back to school the next day, and I just started drawing away from them.
Okay. Okay. But what was their reaction to you when they saw you in school?
They didn't feel anything. It just normal. Just me coming to school. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier your dad is a little older when you were born. In my mind, I would imagine then that would be a man who has a lot more patience, because when you have young parents and they have a lot of energy, the slightest thing you feel it physically. What was it like growing up with an older dad? Did that register to you as a child that, okay, my father is older than almost everyone's father in my classroom. What did that come with, and how did you process it as a child?
So it wasn't something I really thought of, because my parents are my parents. I wasn't really concerned about their age, so it wasn't something I was thinking of when I go to school and all that.
Okay. All right, but what about in terms of discipline in the house? Was there a lot of patience, a lot of talking to?
Yeah, my dad, like I said, was the very patient one. My mom, but right now she's calm. My mom then was like the action one, but right now she's calm.
Okay. So what was an incident that you remember your mother disciplining you for?
Yeah. Okay, so I used to like football a lot.
Okay.
I played for a while, and they were not so much happy with us going out to play football, because we would come home very dirty and we wouldn't bath and go to bed and come home with our clothes very dirty and all that. So they were not so cool with that. So one time, after like several warnings and all that, we went again to play football. We came back. She served us food. We ate. She was very calm, like very cool with us. We ate and all that. Then we went to sleep. And then I think midnight. No, was it midnight or dawn? Yeah. I felt someone tapping me, and I woke up. I was my mom. It was like she knew. So I knelt and then asked me to raise my hand. I did. I was there for hours, thinking that was just the only thing I was going to do.
So you knew what it was for? Or she explained it to you?
Oh, I knew what it was for. When like I knew it was because I went to play football. So
okay.
So after some hours of kneeling, she started talking to me, asking me that, has she not told me to do this? Has she not told me to do that? And started flowing, disciplined me. That night to Dad won't come and save you.
What do you mean discipline?
She spanked me.
After the kneeling, or whilst you were still kneeling?
After the kneeling.
Okay.
So she spanked me, and then, well, that time Dad won't save you. So.
Okay. So after that, did you ever play football?
Yeah, I went back to play.
And then sleep?
Yeah, I went back to play.
Sweaty?
No. So we started taking some precautions, if I should say that.
Okay.
So we will go. If I come back dirty as what is making you spank me, then I will play. But before I get to the house, I'll make sure I'm looking a bit presentable. So we would buy water, we get into the house, we just wash our feet.
Okay.
Then come to the house. And sometimes too, if we know, even though we were doing that, they were still not happy. So if you know they are going to see us coming, the way we move out was we go to the top of our house, then scale the wall.
Okay.
Then go. When we are coming, we use the same route. So that was what we were doing.
But so where would they be? Because they wouldn't know that you left the house.
Oh, so they'll be in the house. Like you just take the stairs, go to the top of the building. As kids as we were, thinking that they would think that, oh, we are still at the top, not knowing they are. So we will go and then scale the wall, and then later come to the same route. But
okay. What about your dad? What's the memorable thing that he punished you for?
My dad will this finger make you put it on the ground and then raise one of your legs. And if he gets you into that position, my dad won't spank you, but if he gets you into that position, he can go away for several hours and come back later.
So what did you do that got you the worst punishment from your dad?
What did I even do? I think it was one of these football moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
So that was your problem. And I've seen you play. You are quite good. And did you entertain the thought of playing for Ghana and all of that, or were you just playing to be a local star?
So playing football was. I wasn't seeing it to be more like a career or something. I was playing for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So playing football was like fun.
Okay. So then going back to Oxford, when you started pulling away from the bad company, who did you befriend then? Do you remember the names of the people you befriended?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it Gregory or Gregory Benson?
Okay.
Samuel Gadi,
Okay.
John Amakun,
Okay.
and then Emmanuel Braukun.
Okay.
These are the 4 guys.
Okay. So tell me a bit about each of them.
Gregory was like the smartest among us.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you like most about him?
Oh, he even though he's good at science, he's good at math, he's also good at like drawing. He was a good artist. Like,
okay. Are you in touch with him today?
No. I'm not in touch with him. And
then the next name you mentioned?
And I'm welcome to, same as Gregory. So it was like Gregory, Amwakon, Brakon, Gadi, and then myself.
Okay. So you were a team, a squad.
Yeah.
Okay. Did any of you get prizes in school? Or did your school do prizes?
My school wasn't really into that prize thing.
Okay.
So if you are first, you are first. Just take it home.
Okay. So these were your friends till when did you do BC from Oxford?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, you guys had to go your separate ways.
So even after DHS, we were still in contact. Then I think Gregory moved from Nameche. Gadi also moved. Brakon also moved. So I think that's. But Gadi, I know where Gadi is. It's just that I haven't been in contact with him for a while.
Okay.
As Mwakon and then Gregory and Brakon is those I don't know where. Yeah.
Okay. But you don't even have them as friends on Facebook. You're not on Facebook.
Not really Facebook.
Okay, great. So then, now after Oxford, what happened academically?
Yeah, so after Oxford, St. John's.
Okay. Where is St. John's? Tell me a bit about the school.
Oh, what do I even know about St. John's Grammar?
What's the full name of the school?
St. John's Grammar Senior High School.
Where is it located?
Located at St. John's.
Where is St. John's?
So, Mile 7, Domi, like on the stretch from Mile 7 to Domi, or on the stretch from Achimota to it's on that stretch.
So were you a day student?
Yeah, I was a day student, but I actually applied to be in the boarding house. But
okay,
when I got there, they said there were a lot of boarders coming, so they were going to shift some of us from boarding to day for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what happened. Then I became a day student for like 4 years.
Okay. 4 years. Why 4 years?
Yeah, that was the education system back then.
Okay.
Actually,
were you the first batch?
We were the last batch for 4 years, and also large batch for 10 subjects in JHS.
JHS for that's BC.
Yeah, BC. Last
so
batch
how many subjects is it now?
I don't know.
Okay.
We were the ones doing RME and social studies and all those pre-voc and pre-tech and all that.
All right. So, do you remember your first day at St. John's?
First day at St. John's. I think I do, but not entirely.
Not entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's talk about, since right now I think they're writing BC, so let's talk about your BC experience, studying for the BC. all of that. How did it go? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Were you worried about your future? What was your first class school, second, third? What was your thinking at that time about life and education?
So then I wasn't thinking about life so much.
Okay.
It was just exams, you just go and write it. BC.
So who picked St. John's for you?
I did.
Was that your first choice?
It wasn't my first choice. I don't remember my first choice, but most of my schools were in Accra.
Okay.
St. John's was like either second or third, one of them.
Okay. And so BC results come.
Yeah.
Were you happy with it?
It wasn't bad, but I wasn't happy with it.
Okay.
I wasn't happy with it because I actually wanted to go for a remarking, but my teacher advised me that it's a whole lot of stress.
So it means your teacher looked at you and said, no, he thinks this grade is a reflection of what you did.
No, actually, he thought I could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he thought I could have done better.
What's the name of this teacher?
I've forgotten. My science teacher. He was actually a national service guy.
Oh, okay. So it's unfortunate that I don't remember his name.
Forgotten his name.
They advised you against it. Then what about your parents? How did they feel about your results?
Oh, their only concern was I should get a school. If I have a school, that's
okay.
But I would, even though I had a school, the results.
Okay. You wanted better results.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, we had St. John's. Catholic school, I'm assuming.
Methodist.
Methodist.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you a Methodist?
No.
Okay. We'll come to that. So St. John's, now you have to make new friends.
Yeah.
How did you make friends at St. John's?
How did I make friends? I don't remember, but I think. How did I make friends? I was very reserved though.
So were you even interested in making friends, or were you just about, okay, I'm in this school, let me just work and were you consciously trying to make friends?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
They just came along the line.
Okay. So now I'm interested. So after your 4 years, who were the people that you considered your friends at St. John's? What are their names?
Felix Amankwano.
Mm-hmm.
For him, I'm still in touch with him. Pascal Lamte. I was in touch with him, but recently I saw they've created a group with all of us. So I'm sure I can still get in touch with him. Pascal, Felix, Yankee, and then who else? Richard. Richard, and then who else? Yeah. So for the guys, I can say these are the 4 guys I can remember. Okay. I mean, though, yeah, the close ones here.
So do you remember how you met each one of them, or that's also in your bank of I don't remember?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So again, St. John's, did anything remarkable? This is not even about you, right? But in the school, whilst you were there for 4 years, what was the most remarkable or dramatic thing that happened? Or was it just 4 years of uneventful school?
So, like I said, I am the reserved type. So,
okay.
Nothing remarkable unless I think my English madam wanted me to join the drama club because I don't know, for some reason she thought I was funny.
Okay. What's her name?
Mrs. Buamponsem. That's
Mrs.
the name.
Buamponsem.
Yeah, that's the name I remember.
Okay.
Mrs. Buamponsem. Yeah. So she comes to class and then for some reason I'll just say something and then it sounds funny to her. So one time after class, she called me and she was like, I should consider joining the drama club. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. But I wanted to join the school choir.
Okay.
Yeah. But eventually I didn't join any of them.
Why?
Well, then the drama club, like I said, I'm the reserve type. I don't want to be in the, so the drama was a lot for me. And also the school choir, when I went there, I think I went for their rehearsal once. And when I got there, the people there, then I was now like a beginner coming up. So when I got there and I heard what people were playing and all that, I said, nah, Charlie, let me just find somewhere there go.
So you were intimidated by?
Yeah, so to say.
Okay. Now, but I mean, once you bring that up, I know you're a musical person.
Yes, sir.
So walk us through your musical journey. When were you introduced to music? When did you start learning?
No one actually introduced me to music.
Okay.
It was something, so just like the football, it was something I grew up with. In the house, we would arrange tin or cans and then be drumming and all that. So what I actually started, the musical instrument that I actually started playing was the drums. No one taught me how to play drums.
Okay.
So in church, my church eldest son, actually two sons, came to the church, joined the church actually, and they were very good. Samuel and then Daniel. Samuel was an all-round person. He can play the keyboard, he can play the bass, and also the drums. But Daniel then was more of the drums. So I was then like playing what I know, but these guys back then were way. So when they came, I was just thrown somewhere. So
you were playing the drums for the church at the time?
Yeah, at the time.
Based on your own?
Yeah, based on my own. Yeah. So they come in and then like, you hear what they play and realize that nah, these guys are top. So I was, for lack of better words, let's say sidelined. So, but I got close to them. They became my friends. Actually, their dad and then my parents are friends. So we eventually became like.
What are their full names? So you said Daniel and Samuel. What do you remember their last name?
Samuel. Is this Samuel Oche and then Daniel Oche? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Samuel Oche and then Daniel Oche. So they came to the church and started playing. So the church then had just a keyboard and then a drum. So I was just there. When Daniel doesn't come, I play the drum a little. But when he comes, then my boss is in. So eventually the church moved from where they were to a more bigger space. And then they got additional instruments, which were like a bass guitar and then a lead guitar. So one day, Daniel spoke to me and was like, the church has a bass guitar, but it's lying down. No one is playing. Why don't I speak to his brother? So his brother teaches me how to play the bass guitar. I'm like, oh, okay. So I spoke to him and he agreed. So he started teaching me. And well, the rest is history.
So how old were you when you started playing the bass guitar?
Started learning, I think, is it first year in SHS or before SHS? That was 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you are considered one of the greatest bass guitarists in Ghana.
No, please.
Worldwide, sorry. Or in Africa.
No.
But you're really into bass guitars now. You've been known to debate the importance of the bass guitar. Can you try and explain why we need it? Because some people think that, yes, it adds a little to music, but when we see a band playing, whether it's at Class 233 on stage or wherever, we sometimes feel like if the bass guitarist, goes to the bathroom for a few minutes, we won't really miss them. So explain to us why bass guitars are important. Does that offend you?
It doesn't offend me. Oh, this is. It doesn't offend me. Just like a tree wouldn't survive without its roots. That's how music feels like. So if I say it in that sense, if we say bass, bass is more like a sound in one of the music registers. Okay. So the instrument for bass is what we call the bass guitar. Okay. But you can actually play bass on a keyboard. Okay. So in as much as you want to dispute the relevance of bass guitar, you can do that. But still, a song without, or a tree without the roots.
So I don't want you to misunderstand me. I don't have a problem with bass. It's the bass guitar. So okay, tell me this, because I don't know much about music.
So the sound, even if you even take the bass guitar off and then you're playing it on the keyboard, it's the sound of the bass guitar that you're going to get on the keyboard.
The sound of the bass guitar that I'll get on the keyboard. I won't get any other bass sound. I won't get bass piano, bass keyboard. Okay. If that's what you say, we'll just have to leave it at that. But for now, what I understand is that you were a drummer and there were good drummers, so you started playing the bass guitar. So now, in order to be on stage with everyone else, you're arguing that the bass guitar is needed.
I'm not arguing. You can ask any musician and they will tell you.
Okay, when I meet a musician, I'll ask them.
Sure.
Okay, so now let's sticking on this, right? And we had a conversation in the office about musicians and churches.
Are we still going to do this?
I think it's important for your perspective to be out there. Okay. Why make an argument for why churches should pay their musicians?
I can't make an argument.
So you believe churches shouldn't pay their musicians?
Well, if you're a church and you feel like or pay your culture as a church, you would want to pay your musicians, that's fine.
Okay.
If per your culture you wouldn't want to pay any musician, that's also fine.
Wonderful, very diplomatic. Now, I'll rephrase it. Make an argument as to why no musician who is a Christian should demand money from his church in order to play. His or her church in order to play.
Well, like I said, if you're a church...
No. This now that was about the church. Now I'm saying as a musician, if you're a musician and you are a Christian, make the argument, or I'm making the argument that if you're a musician and you're a Christian, do not demand, I'm just choosing my words carefully, do not demand money from your church in order to play.
Okay. So, I'm still not going to make an argument though, but I've just tried to put this out there. How do I say this? Because this is a very huge topic out there. I don't want to be dragged. I don't want to be...
Okay, I'll make it easier for you. I'll take a position and then you can take the other position. My position is if you are a musician and you are a Christian, do not demand money from the church in order to play. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you to an extent.
Okay, where does it end?
Okay, so some of these musicians do this as full-time. Okay, so they have a church where they work. If I say work, like they go to work like you move to your office like 9 to 5 and all that. Some of these people do that. So for people like that, the church is an organization which is running each and every day. So people like that, I think it's so much okay. I wouldn't use the word demand, but it's so much okay for the church to pay people like that.
Okay. So the church can pay if the church chooses to pay.
Like I said, if it's the church's culture to pay musicians,
Yeah.
fair enough. But if it's not your culture, because there are so many churches who they don't pay their musicians, and their musicians are happy and glad and they are there working. And there are some churches too, they pay their musicians and their musicians are also there working. Yeah. So it's all about the church culture. It's nothing about...
I think you should consider politics after this, because you've just been able to dance around this issue. Like, it's easy for me because I'm not on camera. I can say what I want. But, I respect your position on this.
Sure.
So now, coming back to St. John's.
Yeah.
With your friends. After BC, now there's what, SSC.
Yeah.
I know for some people, these exams seem to be life-defining exams. At least that's how it's portrayed in some schools.
Yeah.
If you don't do well in BC, you're finished.
Yeah.
You sell dog chains by the roadside. SSC is coming around. Was that the attitude of St. John's? Is that the attitude in your household that, look, you have to do very, very well? Or were you in a family that just understood, go and do your best and let's see what happens?
Yeah, I would say my mom and dad were like that. But Emilia was a strict one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Emilia live with you?
For a while, but moved out. So we were actually visiting her on vacations and all that.
Okay, so now let's take a break and let me find out. I was trying to delay this. Tell me about your sister Emilia. Describe her. For someone who's never met her before.
Oh.
Describe Emilia to me.
She's fun.
Okay.
She's bubbly. Like, she's all over.
Okay.
But she is very strict.
Okay.
And she's very disciplined. Yeah.
Is she the sister that you say you're closest to, besides the one that you're directly after?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the age gap between you and Emilia?
I don't know, but Emilia should be in her mid-40s.
Okay.
Or mid-40s, or maybe late 30s or thereabout.
Okay. So you said you at some point you were going to stay with her for vacations.
Yeah.
What was she working at that time?
Yeah.
What was she doing?
She was working with Shell.
Okay.
The EcoBank currently in La Paz, it used to be a Shell fuel station.
Okay.
So she was working there, and then she was transferred to the Nungwa Shell fuel station.
Okay.
Yeah. So she went there, and then she rented around Nungwa Boade.
Okay.
So on vacations, we will go there, and also sometimes on weekends.
Okay.
We will go there and then spend the weekend with her and come back.
Okay. So then, now going back to SSE, Emilia is trying to get it in your head that, look, you have to take it seriously. It's a defining moment. How did you feel about that? Did you just accept it?
Honestly, even through SHS, I wasn't really thinking about life like that.
Okay, what were you thinking about?
I don't know. I was just so. I was more or less like go through it. What comes your way, make use of it. That was how it was then. So it wasn't like there was a clear path that was defined. Nah, I didn't have a clear path.
So basically, I mean, okay, you didn't have a clear path. So were you just doing what you were told to do?
No, I wasn't doing what I was told to do. But even though I was doing it, it wasn't something that I was so much stuck with, such that I wasn't ready to make like changes or like changes to it.
Okay. So then back to Emilia telling you that look, this is SSC is really important. Do you remember your preparations for SSC? Did you stay up? Did you do what, general arts or visual arts?
Science 2.
Science 2. This is interesting. We will come to that. So you're doing Science 2. Tell me, what's Science 2?
Science 2 is science without elective maths and biology.
Science without biology. So what are you doing?
So we did physics, chemistry. What's the other two? Animal husbandry. And then one other one, I've forgotten.
So you're educated on animal husbandry.
Yeah.
We should add that to our business. Because now we have the expertise. Okay, so preparation for that. Did you make the effort to study throughout the year, or was it the kind of thing where when it's time for exam, then you put your best foot forward? What kind of student were you?
So I started very good in SHS.
Okay.
But along the line, I got on CS.
What triggered that?
Should I say friends?
So
should I say friends? I think so. But the same friends that I think got me on CS were the same friends that got me CS.
So what I'm picking up is that you, like you're saying, since you didn't really have a plan or think about life in those terms, it's almost like you went with the wind, right? Like wherever things were going, you lean there a bit and see how things are going.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got on serious, and then you became serious again, or
yeah,
you tried
again. I tried.
You tried. Okay, so SSC, how did you prepare for that?
Steady. Daniel also was doing, my colleague, the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lived in our house. So
eventually, the same year, roughly.
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think Daniel. Yeah, I think the same year, or I was a year ahead of him, because they were doing. It's either he was doing 3 years and I was doing 4 years or so. Yeah. So Daniel also was doing science, so we would sit down and then study together and all that. When I go to school too, sometimes when I get the time, I study together and all that. But again, in SHS, things were a bit tough. So got to a time I wasn't really consistent with class and all that. So that's
okay. So the theme of things being tough, you've mentioned it a few times. How were you processing it as a child? Did you think other people have, I don't have? Because when you're very young, you are kind of insulated, but now you're in school, people come to school. What did it look like for people?
So I wasn't pressured.
Okay.
What I have is what I have. That's the mentality that my parents gave me at a very young stage. So I wasn't so much pressured with what people carried or what people brought to school and all that. What I have is what I have.
Okay. So now let's touch on that, because I've seen people who maybe because they felt they didn't have as much as other people, they become money conscious to the point of greed, where it becomes a part of their character. From what I know about you, you are not moved or influenced by the desire to accumulate wealth or grab wealth. Why do you think you are that way?
So I think the whole point is to be content
Okay.
and be okay for the very moment you're in. The next stage comes, you find a way to be content and to be comfortable in that state. So it's like a gradual process.
Okay.
The stage you're in right now, are you comfortable? Can you get things done for yourself? If you can get things done for yourself, fine. For that very moment, when the next stage comes, you find a way to be okay as well.
Okay, so from what you're saying, you're not anxious about the future. It's about how can you survive the moment? And if you can, then you work towards, well, when the next moment comes, you're going to find the ability to do that. So now, do you attribute that to your family upbringing or your spiritual life?
It's both, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both. Like I said, I'm more like my dad. So my dad is more on this, like, in the moment, what can be done? Would it be okay if we do this? Let's get it done. And then the next minute, what comes? Can we find the solution to it? That's how my dad is.
Okay, that's very, very wise way of looking at things. So now, what I'm interested in, before we go back to SSE, is what has your spiritual journey been like? Are you one of those people that was born into a family that went to church, so by default you're a Christian? Or do you have a more personal relationship, and are you able to talk about what it looked like?
I was born into church. Just like everybody born into church thinks he or she is a Christian. That's what I thought. But eventually I had to make a decision regarding my faith. So I made that decision back in SHS. One time, one of these, is it Scripture Union guys? Yeah. They were moving from class to class. They came to preach in our class. So after the preaching, they asked if there's anyone here who wants to give his life to Christ, and I put my hand up. I don't know what actually made me put my hand up, but I just put my hand up, and he went outside with me. And he asked me, because I think he was actually shocked because no one was listening to him, but most of the people in the class were not listening to him. So he went outside. He was like, am I sure of what the decision I want to take? I'm like, yes. So he prayed and he led me to Christ and he prayed for me. So the next day, I think he came to check on me, and I think he checked on me for a while. Then he came out of school.
Interesting. Do you remember his name?
Nah, don't.
You don't. So by this was someone came to preach in class or in the school?
In class.
Was he a student?
Yeah, he was a student.
Was he a senior or?
Yeah, he was a senior. I think he was in his final year, if I'm right. Okay. He was in his final year. Yeah.
And you were in your second or third?
I think either second or the last time in my first year.
Okay. So you advise to people who even go to classes to preach that they shouldn't stop?
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Because they might find out one person whose life is changed by the message. Okay, that's great. Maybe he'll see this and then you remember. It's unfortunate we can't remember his name. So at least what we've established is that you had a personal relationship with Christ before your SSE.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is very important in preparation for your exams. So anyway, you prepare for the exams. Then the school term ends, right?
Yeah.
Then you go home and you wait for your results.
Yeah.
Okay. Whilst waiting, what were you up to?
So whilst waiting, interesting. I think whilst waiting, I was doing more of the music stuff.
Okay.
So like learning more of what my Samuel was teaching me and all that, and also going on gigs with him just to see how this thing works and all that. So doing that, and also a guy in our house, a guy had a shop in our house, like one of our shops. He was doing back then he had an internet cafe, and he was doing graphic design. He was doing printing, and then he was, basically that's creative stuff. So sometimes he would leave the cafe for me to like take care of it or see things over there. And then I started learning CorelDRAW.
Okay.
Oh,
The greatest application.
Yeah. So I started learning CorelDRAW there, but it wasn't something I was so much into. So, and then it wasn't something he was paying me for. So it was just friendship. So I was just doing it. But eventually I had to go and teach after the exam. So while I was waiting,
What do you mean go and teach?
I went to be like a teacher.
Okay. What school?
Unilab.
Unilab.
Yeah.
So okay. Okay, so let's take a break. So you were a teacher at a school called Unilab.
Yeah.
What school was that? Like, what were the ages of the students?
Oh, I think it's from either nursery to like JHS. Yeah.
Okay. And what year were you teaching?
Was it class 2 or class 3?
You don't remember. What year was this? Do you roughly?
Oh, 2013, 2014.
Okay.
I think so.
So 2013, 2014, you were a teacher
2013, 2014,
at Unilab.
Yeah, they are.
And so was class 2 or class 3. By now, your kids are how old now? In 2025, they have to be about 13 years old.
I think some are way older. Sometimes I see some and they still call me Sir Joshua. I'm like, hey.
So they remember you?
Yeah, they remember me.
How long did you teach for?
Oh, I taught for like a year and some months.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm guessing, a year and some months.
So Sir Joshua, but let's take a step back. When you decided you were going to teach, actually, what made you decide you were going to teach?
I think I was just tired of roaming about, and then a friend who was already teaching in that school.
What's the friend's name?
Benjamin.
Is he still teaching there?
No, he's not teaching.
So Sir Benjamin.
I'm in the same church with him though.
Okay.
So Benjamin Adote, he was already teaching there. So
okay.
He told me about an opportunity in the school, so I should just apply for it. So I went. They did an interview, and then they asked me to start working. So
okay. So then you're working there. At least you have to remember your first day teaching. You have to. We don't.
It was horrible.
It was horrible, but you remember.
It was. So I felt like I have been the reserved type all these years, and now I have to break away from that. It was quite difficult, but.
So what, you'd walk into the class and you'll say, good morning.
So I came in, the preparators introduced me to the class, told them that, I'm going to be their teacher for. I'm like, okay. So it was difficult trying to get these children to, because they funny enough, the one who actually left before I came was also called Joshua.
Okay.
So they've been with this teacher for a very long time. So me coming in felt some way. So gradually I had to put them on.
Okay. So you have a lot of children out there in essence, because if they remember you as also as Joshua and you're part of their formative years, then you are a role model to them. This is the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So how long did you teach there for?
I think a year and a half. Either a year and a half or 2 years. So.
Okay. So you're there teaching. In that time, SSC results come out.
I think I actually started teaching
after the results or before?
Yeah, I think after the results.
Okay. So the results come out. Do you remember where you were when you knew the results were out and how you accessed it and all of that?
Oh. I was home, La Paz. The results came in.
But how did you find out they were out? They were
just friends.
Okay.
Saying they're out. So people were checking theirs.
So you went? Did you check it in the cafe that was at the house?
No. I went to. I think that time the guy had moved. Yeah. So I went to. There's this cafe. La Paz is still even there right now. Judah Cafe.
Okay.
So I went there. I checked.
So when you go there, you buy the.
Yeah, I bought. No, it wasn't Judah Cafe.
You just promoted Judah Cafe for free.
It wasn't Judah Cafe. There was an internet cafe, the old La Paz Road, where Cheesy Pizza is right now.
Okay.
There were some stores there. That place used to be a taxi rank.
Okay.
It was a taxi rank, yeah. And then they had some stores.
There was a cafe.
There was a cafe there, yeah.
So you go in there, you get your
this thing, yeah.
And then you went and you sat down.
Yeah.
Were you nervous, or did you just?
I was. I checked and. Oh.
Were you happy?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't happy, but.
So then, did you go back home immediately? Tell your parents?
Yeah, I went back home, and then Emilia was the one so much interested in this.
So do you tell her straight away? You decided to go and relax a bit and drink water?
She wasn't with us that time, so I went home, told my parents about it, and then told my sister, the one I follow, Florence, about it. And Emilia also called me later on, and I told her about it and all that. She was like, okay.
Okay. So at that point, then what was the plan? Go and teach?
No.
NOVDEC? No.
So I didn't want to write NOVDEC.
Okay. Why?
Like I said, at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I didn't want to go and waste another time to go and sit in and study and go and write NOVDEC and all that. So I didn't want to write it. Even though my friends were so much into it and wanted us to write it and all that, I didn't want to write it. I think it was because of my math and then physics also.
Do you remember what you got in math?
Was it D7?
Okay.
Yeah, I think math was D7 and physics was not D7 or E8, one of them.
Okay. So when you saw them, you're like, oh my goodness.
I didn't want to write it.
But then you didn't want anyone to remark it. You were okay with
it. Like I said, I started SHS very well, but ending SHS, I wasn't so much consistent with class and all that. So
okay. So anyway, you took your D7 or E whatever and then decided to be a teacher to impart that knowledge on the next generation.
So I actually, the whole point of, I think the time, that time was for me to actually reflect on what I actually wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah. What I actually wanted to do. And mind you, within this period, because of me being in the cafe and all that, I became techie. So
Okay, yeah.
like became so much interested in IT stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So then, when did you and why did you leave the school? And
So I was whilst teaching, I decided to take a foundational course at IPMC
okay.
to understand more of these IT stuff. So
Was it Emilia that encouraged you to do this? Did you discuss it with her?
it wasn't Emilia, but it was actually I think it was the cafe guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was the cafe guy.
Do you remember his name?
Xavier.
Xavier.
Edegbe.
Xavier Edegbe.
Yeah.
Okay, so he helped guide you.
So decided to take a foundational class on that. So after the foundation, I realized that, okay, so yeah, I think this is the path that I want to be on. So
Was that the first time in your life that you thought, okay, now I think I know what I want to do?
yeah.
Okay. But before we even go further, did you ever try to play football in St. John's for the school team?
No.
Why not?
So I stopped playing football when I was going to write my BEC.
Okay.
I decided to put football away so I could like have time for my books.
Okay.
So right after BEC, I stopped playing. So even in school, people didn't know me to be a footballer, like to like football. So they know me to like music, but not football. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Xavier
Edegbe
advised you or encouraged you to do IPMC. You did it and realized, okay, this is the path. And you were doing it whilst you were Sir Joshua.
Yeah. So I actually started doing it before I moved to teach. So
okay.
it was the classes were in the evening class. From then it was like from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the foundational class, 5 to 7. So yeah, 5 to 7. Before I started teaching, then I was still 5 to 7. Then the reason I actually had to stop teaching was because they moved our lecture time.
Okay.
Yeah, they moved it to morning, and I can't be going to have lectures for our students. So I spoke to the proprietress. Initially, they moved it from 5 to like 3. So I spoke to her. So I'll go to school, and then when it's 3, I'll move and then go for class. But I think when we vacated and reopened, they changed the time to like morning. So
okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's how I actually stopped teaching.
Okay, so then at that point you stopped teaching and you were doing IPMC or more or less full time.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not earning money at that time?
No.
Okay. And then how long were you there for?
I was in IPMC for like, I think 2 years or 1.5. Yeah, 2 years. Either 2 years or 1.5.
And then what did you do after that?
So in IPMC, I was doing like graphic and web.
Okay.
And funny enough, I liked the web so much. And at the time, I was so much into web. I was good at it. Then to a point where even my lecturer was like, nah, this guy there. They were even pushing me to like do more and all that. So, but well, it got to a time, like I said, the difficulties set in again. So
financial difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but I was still on it for 2 years. And then when I was done and I was home, what came to me more between the web and graphics was the graphics.
Okay.
So after school, I was
When
doing
you say what came to you in terms of like
people
people
asking
asking
me
you to do
things.
something for them that they were
Yeah.
willing to pay for?
Some were willing, some didn't see why they should pay me
Okay.
for. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I was doing more of the graphics and getting something little. So one day, I think I went to church and they made an announcement that someone wants so a printing press or something needs someone to do designs or yeah, that's what I heard. So they gave the number out. I took the number, I called the number, and they asked me to come. The shop was at Nameche after the Mambo spot. They currently have, is it Advance or something? Yeah, after it's on top of one of the buildings. I went there. And not knowing what they actually wanted was like sales personnel.
Okay.
They wanted people to like go to shops and tell people about. I'm like, nah, that's not what I do. I'm actually a designer. And they were like, oh, if I'm a designer, then they will give me some works to do to prove that I'm a designer. So I should go and do these things and then bring them. Even before that, I think a friend of mine who is more like a mentor.
Okay.
He's
What's
called he's called Aaron.
Okay.
Aaron
what?
Botchwey.
Okay. The name sounds familiar. That's very familiar.
Aqua. So Aaron had initially so Aaron actually mentored me even through school.
Okay. Where did you meet Aaron?
I met Aaron in church.
Okay, so Aaron goes to your church?
He used to.
Tell us a bit about your church and how you met Aaron.
So the name of my church is the Apostolic Church of Ghana. That's why I met Aaron. Aaron was a friend to the our MD, yeah, our music director by then. He was a friend to him. So that's
What's your music director's name?
Dennis Mensah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then now let's get back to the story of you proving yourself by doing the graphic designs for the company.
Yeah. So before then, Aaron had actually asked me to start working on my portfolio, like do things and then just put them together and all that. So I started doing that, but I was a bit reluctant in doing that. So after I went for this interview and they asked me to come and do the work, I came back and I'm like, what's the sense in like doing something and then bringing it? So I just decided to work on a portfolio that day. So funny enough, that day, Aaron called again and asked if I've been able to finish my portfolio. And I was like, no. And he asked, when can I get it done? And I was like, okay, I will try and finish it today. He was like, okay, I should finish it and then send it to him. I'm like, okay. So when I was done with it, he called again. It was like, there's an opportunity at where he was working. That's EK Brand Consult. So I should send my portfolio to him. So I did that. I think I sent it to him and then you as well. Yeah. So yeah, I sent it and then I got a call. Yeah, I got a call. No, before that, Aaron called back to ask if like I've been contacted. And I'm like, no. And he said he'll call me back. So after the call, a lady called me. Doris called me and it was like,
Doris, do you remember her full name?
Doris Osabuti.
Okay.
Doris Osabuti called me and said I've been scheduled for an interview. That's the next day. So I'm like, oh, okay. She gave me the location where I'm supposed to come and all that. So after the call, I called Aaron and I told Aaron about it and he was like, yeah, okay. So I should come there tomorrow. That was the next day. So the next day, woke up, dressed up.
What did you wear for your interview? As a graphic designer, what did you put on?
So you see, this whole thing about interview, growing up, what I've heard about interview, like in this corporate sector, like you go in, you have to put on like your shirt, tuck in, your tie, your shoes, your suit and all that. So I didn't have a suit at that time. So the only thing I had was that could make me look a bit corporate was the tie. And unfortunately too, it was a pink tie.
Maybe it was fortunate. Maybe it was a...
So I put on a white shirt, the pink tie, and I think a black trouser also. I went for the interview. The interview was at every Scott. I actually went in with, I don't think you know this, but one other lady who is also from my church.
Okay.
She was coming in for, I think, is it personal assistant or something, secretary or something?
For Ike Brand Consult?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What's her name?
Salome.
Salome.
Awuku.
Interesting.
We came the same day.
Really? Did she work at Ike
Brand Consult? No. So she had her, I think she went in before I was called. So
okay.
We came together.
Okay.
Avery Scott sat at the reception, and then she was called in. I was just sitting down thinking, Charlie, how am I going to do it? Because this guy who doesn't speak much is going to sit in front of a lot of people and be asked questions and all that. How am I going to survive? Let me just go and do it. At the end of the day, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just go back home. So Sally was done with her interview, and then Doris came to call me. But Doris helped a bit because she was friendly, not a bit. She was very friendly and she was conversational. She asked me if I'm nervous and all that. I said, oh, I'm a bit nervous. She said, oh, what's the worst thing that could happen? That's the question she asked me. So when I heard that, I laughed, like I smiled. So I entered and I'm like, oh, okay. So I sat down. I entered, I saw like one person and one man and then another woman. That was you and then Doris. So I'm like, oh, okay. So seeing you alone and then Doris, to an extent, brought some kind of ease. Because I was thinking I was going to sit in front of a panel.
Okay.
So I sat, and then the way you also spoke to me, like you were very casual.
Okay.
Yeah. You were very casual. So I introduced myself, and then like that was it. When he asked me to take a test, which I did. And after the interview, I went back home. I didn't get a call, so I thought after the interview, I went back home. I didn't get a call, so I thought, Charlie, I said it, I blasted. So I was there. I think 2 days later, everyone called me. I was like, I'm supposed to be here today. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to be where? He said, I'm supposed to come to the office today. I'm like, no one has called me. It was like, oh, really? So he said they'll call me back. So that, just like the interview, after the call, Doris called again. And she was like, I should come to the office the next day. So I asked her, where am I coming to? Because everyone told me where I went wasn't where the office was. So I went, she told me I'm coming to Adjengano. Okay. I didn't know Adjengano then. So the next morning I went, and then, well, you saw me. I came in and you saw me and asked me, where's my tie?
Interesting. So that's your story of joining Ike Brand Consult.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, and of course, I mean, everybody who works with you knows you as a very, very quiet person. Even though you cost me some money, but we are not talking about that here. We're not talking about that here. But So, um, I actually want to take the opportunity now for you to give a little message, just in case there's anybody watching this who might be going through their BC or the SSE and maybe they haven't figured out what life is really about yet. If a 13-year-old or a 15-year-old came to you and said, Sir Joshua, I haven't figured out life yet and I'm worried, what do you tell them?
Wow. For me, I had to figure it out based on what my passion grew to for IT. So, for someone like that, I would just say, don't be in a rush. See, what should I call it? The world right now is making people make hasty decisions that at the end of the day will regret they did or made. So if you haven't figured it out, I think it's best you take your time and figure it out than to make a hasty decision. And most of the times, whatever you would have to do will be based on your passion for that thing. So
you should take your time, find what you're passionate about.
Find your passion.
Okay. So do you do anything related to football, or have you lost your passion for football?
I like football, but if I would do anything football right now, it's just for fun.
Okay.
But it's been a while I played though.
I think at their last retreat, they claim you were quite the superstar and that you played even through some injuries, but that's not a conversation for this video, unless you want to talk about it.
No, I prefer not to talk about it.
I prefer not to speak. Okay. Now, I want to address the fact that you're a vegetarian, right? Is that a fair characterization?
Oh God.
Let's talk about being a vegetarian in Ghana. Why are you a vegetarian?
I don't know.
You don't know. So
yeah.
you never received meat growing up?
No.
You did, but you didn't like it?
I think, okay, the meat I think I remember taking, but I didn't like was chicken.
Okay.
Yeah. They were making me take chicken, but I didn't like it.
You didn't like chicken? What? You're speaking to somebody who was excited about rice and chicken for Christmas. So I don't understand what you mean by you don't like chicken.
I don't know, but...
You didn't like the taste or the texture?
I think it felt weird eating it.
Again, you have to break it down. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Did you ever make friends with chickens at a young age? Did you have a chicken that was your friend?
Yeah. Like we had like a lot of them in the house. My dad like.
Oh, and do you think you formed a bond with the chicken so you didn't want them to be eaten? Okay.
I don't think that was the reason. I just didn't like it.
Okay, that's fair. So you being a vegetarian, it's not really a health decision, or is it now a health decision?
I don't think it's a health decision.
Okay. So when you were in SHS, you never...
Nope.
But you've never been tempted to eat
I have.
Nane?
What's Nane?
You don't know Nane?
Kotoje.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were part gang. Isn't that what it's called, Nane?
The leg of the...
Yes. Isn't it Nane? What's it called?
I think that's one... Yeah, it's called Nane, but that's one of the things that actually felt so weird when I saw people eating it.
What about Willie?
No. So I've been tempted so many times to eat like chicken, but sometimes I make decisions to like try and learn how to eat it.
What do you mean try and learn? Just open your mouth, put it in chew, swallow. It's a very simple process. Does it make you want to throw up or?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe some scientists will come and take your blood and we'll figure out maybe you are special. So it means your mother eats chicken?
Everyone does.
Okay. Because I was wondering, and of course, our condolences to you and your family because your father just passed away.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some time to really talk about him as a man. But I thought that maybe everybody was vegetarian and that was the secret to long life. So I can keep eating chicken. Okay, that's good. So tell me a little bit about your father as a man and what the things that you've learned about him and things that you carry with you. I know he passed very recently, and it's okay if you need to dab your eyes a little bit, but I want you to spend about at least 2-3 minutes talking about him and what you've learned from him.
Okay, so my dad, like I said, I'm more or less like him. If you see me, you see my dad. Okay. Even in resemblance. If you see me, you see my dad. My dad in his young age was the energetic type. Like, let's make things happen. And was very hardworking. Most of the stories he told me about himself as a young guy, well, made me see life in a different light.
Okay, give us an example.
So, you see, especially when it comes to decision making and all that, there are things that you would decide to do that some people will try to make you not do them, even though you are so much convicted about them, like convicted in like doing it and all that. But you have a family member or you have a brother or even a parent who will try to talk it down and all that because maybe no one in the family has been able to do that, but you want to do it and all that. And they try to talk you out of it. But he was very resilient and very focused. Whatever he wanted to do, even though with little resources, he tried to do. Mm-hmm. So it made me see life in a different way, especially when it comes to decision making and all that. If you are very much convicted about it, do it.
Okay. What's his full name?
Well, my father's name is Emmanuel Kwabena Kwade.
Okay. That's the name you use. You use Kwade as well?
No. So okay. I was using Kwade, but he asked me to stop for a reason I don't know.
You never asked him, or he never told you the reason?
So I think he never told me because going to write BEC, I asked my mom, which surname should I use? So she was like, I should use Kwade. So after, even throughout SHS, I was using Kwade. But it got to a time, I was speaking to my dad, and he was like, I shouldn't be using Kwade. I tried to understand it, and it wasn't for, I don't know, he didn't really give me a straightforward response. Maybe it's for my own good that I don't know, but yeah, he didn't want any of us using Kwade. Yeah, he didn't want any of us using Kwade. So he told me a name that he gave to me, or a name that someone he named me after. That was, I think, either his grandmother or something. That's Botchwey. So yeah, he told me that my name is Botchwey. So I should use that. I'm like, okay. So that's how come I changed my name from Joshua Kwade to Joshua Botchwey.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you still use Botchwey today?
Yeah.
Okay. How old was he when you passed away? I just want that to be on record.
My dad was 104.
104. That is a blessing.
Yeah.
104. And he was eating chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Even
what?
the December before the January, he died. He had chicken. So
Yeah, chicken. Oh, okay, that's good. We've celebrated chicken.
yeah, he had chicken.
Okay. If there was one word you could use to describe him, what word would that be?
One word.
Or what word comes to mind? If you think about your dad, just one word that you think could.
Combat straight.
Combat straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad is very calm, but you can't take his, should I say, leniency for granted.
Okay.
When you are doing something, he just watches you. It's like, if he doesn't have facts, he won't act.
Mm-hmm.
He just listen to you. But when you have his facts,
He'll deal with you.
he'll deal with you.
Good. Okay, so of course, I've just spoken about your dad. We have to give you a chance to talk about your mother too, right? So what's your mother's name?
My mother is Monica Dede Tete.
Okay. Tell us about Monica Dede Tete.
A mother is a mother. Everybody knows, like, a mother is a mother. So when I was young, she was doing more of the disciplinary work, but growing up, she became a bit soft. So right now, the mom that I have is not the mom I used to have back then. And sometimes I tell my nieces and then my nephews that you guys, you really, like, you have an advantage, because my mom back then, sometimes I see them do things and I'm like, you guys, you don't know. But my mom is very caring, very loving. She's open to all. Yeah, she's open to all. That's my mom.
Do you think it's going to be difficult for you to find a wife because your mother is so perfect?
No. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
You're looking for the same qualities?
No.
She can have flaws.
Everybody can have flaws. My mom has flaws.
That's a speculation, and I will not accept this.
No, my mom does.
No,
she does.
No,
everybody has flaws.
No, your mother is perfect. That's the correct answer. We are not going to debate this. We'll move on to the next one.
Everybody has flaws.
Okay. I refuse to accept this one. So let's agree to disagree on this issue.
Sure.
Right. Okay, we can argue about paying musicians in the church, but this one we will leave it.
I'm not arguing about that.
Okay. So I think we've covered most of the topics, but I want to understand at this point what your personal philosophy is, or what it looks like about life. My speculation is, I think when I meet people who have grown up around older people, they seem wise beyond their years, because, if you see when I meet people who grew up with their grandparents, you can always tell because they have patience, because they grew up in an environment where there was patience for them. Maybe because old people can chase you around the house and be beating you. But there's patience, there's more communication, there's more thought. And they seem to be a lot deeper.
Yeah.
If you have young parents who can catch you and throw you around, this is also different. Then you respond to action. But I want to understand, who is Sir Joshua? What's his philosophy about life? And then what is his ambitions?
Sir Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? So, the way I approach life is, my life is all around, is centered around passion. So, I do things based on passion. That's why sometimes when I'm doing certain things that I'm not passionate so much about, like, if you really want me to get to do things for you, find what I'm passionate about. And what ambitions? I don't have something huge that I'm really looking at. I'm just taking life or taking one step at a time. But there is a bigger plan, but it's just one step at a time.
Okay. So now the last issue, as we're speaking about passion, why are you a Chelsea supporter?
Why am I a Chelsea supporter?
Yeah.
I think most Ghanaians are like Chelsea supporters, but because Michael Essien played for Chelsea. So back then as a kid, like, I think I like the way Essien played and the way he was an African and also like broke out in the Chelsea team, make me like the Chelsea team more back then when they were competing on top level, not now.
Okay.
So I think that's how come I came to love Chelsea, because they were full of like African players a lot. So
okay. So then basically because of Mourinho.
Back then, I mean, I didn't know.
You didn't know, but now you understand that Essien, Drogba,
yeah, those people.
John Obi Mikel.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you wish for Manchester United in the upcoming season?
Oh,
besides relegation.
I wish they do better, because or accept that they are not the Manchester United they used to be.
Okay.
The earlier they accept that, the earlier they can find solutions on to whatever is wrong with them. I think they are dwelling so much on past glories. And I know United is United, but there's a point where you have to sit down and say that, okay, we've enjoyed some glory in the past, but currently we are not good.
Okay. What
are the reasons why we are not good? Find the reasons. If there are solutions, put them in place, and then let's just move on. But I don't know why some United fans are refusing to accept that they are not good currently. But anyway.
Okay. All right. And also my final question, do you think there's any fan base more annoying than Manchester United fans right now?
I don't think so.
So Manchester United fans, can you just say that Manchester United fans are the most annoying fans right now?
Just like you said, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Joshua.
Thank you.